Another go. And then, okay, stand by. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sonic Talk number 284, recording today live Wednesday, the 26th of September. I know it's the 26th because I'm taking the day off tomorrow and going to Legoland with my daughter. But we have, as promised, a new guest this week because we have the winner of the iZotope Iris competition, Mr. Tom. Now, am I saying this right? Blazukas. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's Blazukas. Actually, it should be Blazukas, but you don't have enough letters in the alphabet.
Okay. So it's something past Z as well. Tom Tom actually was the overall winner of the Iris competition, and is going to tell us a little bit about how he did things and, well, hopefully some more stuff beside, because it looks like he's got quite an interesting setup. But we will now just quickly go and say hello to our other guests as well. First of all, we'll say hi to Mr. Mark Tinley, who's over there in, it must be sunny. Is it Bedfordshire? I always get it wrong.
I am in Bedfordshire. No, you've got it right.
I got it right this time. Mark Tinley, sporting a new haircut and a pair of sort of fancy shades there. How are you, Mark?
I'm all right, but I do have a slight migraine from overworking on the computer.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And also, it sounds like you've got some sort of pitch effect on your voice because it's dropped about a third of an octave. Sounds like you've slowed it down. It's really odd. So, if I didn't know any better, I'd say your sample rate was out, but I can tell that it's real. So it must be, maybe your headache's affected the pitch of your voice.
I did take loads of codeine. I suppose that's a
slows
little
your
bit
system.
Like heroin, isn't it? But not quite as good, should I say? Good, strong.
Stop there, I think, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know anything about any of that.
Anyway, Mark, thank you very much for joining us. Lightbeing.com, sound designer, sound artist, and creative thinker over there in Bedfordshire. And we're also going to say hi to Dave Spears, who is from GeForce Software. If I push this one here and Dave talks, I can guess which window he might go into.
In the round window.
Let's see. He's going to go into that window, so I can say, hey, there you go. Hi, Dave. Dave Spears, GeForce Software, of course. Did you just have a rack extension out? Another one? No. I think because what's been happening is I've been kind of pulling together all these feeds, and I'm starting to really kind of hone down all these keyword searches. And I think someone must have mentioned it, and it was like, oh.
Yeah.
Something got mentioned.
Asking a lot of questions about what's next and when and
those sort of questions. I'm not going to put you on the spot there, but I'm taking it by the amount of wall there is around you. Your move is underway, right?
Yep. Look, there you go. Look, some keyboards missing. It's definitely keyboards missing at the back there. The Octagon's still here. The 8 voice is still here. Sorry, the Prophet 10. The 8 voice is gone. There's loads of drum machines, and then the 2600. There's loads of stuff. It's all gone.
Well, that's good. Is that liberating, or are you going to be reunited with it very shortly?
I'll tell you what. I really, 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 really miss some of them already, and it's been about a week.
Do you think it's the smell of the germanium capacitors is just somehow kind of tainted the atmosphere?
I think I'm kind of intrinsically linked to at least 2 or 3 of these. I've kept the Mini Moog, I've kept the Andromeda, I've kept there's a few that I've kept, but the 8 voice, I'm really kind of I don't like being separated from that. It makes me a bit nervous. And look, sweaty palms.
Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that. Anyway, I'm sort of waiting for Gaz to come back because he's disappeared. I was going to introduce him next, but
I can see him.
Can you? Oh,
yeah.
Gaz, can you talk? Oh, you are here. Right, okay. Sorry, I thought you disappeared.
Yeah,
Right, your video's gone. That's all it is. I will say also hello to Mr. Gaz Williams from songsurgeon.co.uk. I'm going to... Well, it's not, actually. It's at Gaz Goldstar. You see, I've changed your lower third. So if you talk, your box will appear and I can populate you with it. Gaz.
Okay, that's cool. I've my website nearly went online today, but I'm going to do a little bit more. So
there we go. But I did remember to do your lower third. Anyway, Gaz, thanks for joining us. Your video will come back, I'm hoping soon. But in the meantime, we'll just have to make do with that spinny icon. Anyway, I'm going to go back to Tom because Tom's video is working beautifully. Tom's over there in where are you based, Tom?
In London.
Okay. Of course, I should have because I have the address because I will be sending you a coveted Sonic State T-shirt as well, which is probably the finest prize out of all of the stuff you won. But I want to say that what Tom actually did win is the Iris competition, the Find Music and Everything, where you had to download a demo version of Iris. Unless you already had it, and then submit in a number of categories. And the iZotope people actually chose you as the overall winner. You submitted, I think it was 14 items. There was no limit, so there's no sense of kind of, outrage at that at all or anything. But the reason you won was because you were chosen by all the judges in at least one of their categories as the winner. So therefore, that kind of made you by consent, if you like, the kind of winner. So first of all, what were you doing when you first heard you won the competition? Are you a competition enterer?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe that happened. I was hoping I'm going to win something, because I spent quite a lot of time, hours working on it and sweating and whatever, and at the end, I just got the email and I was so surprised. I just couldn't believe it. I just had to read the email a few times.
Excellent. So were you already an owner of Iris, or did you kind of like just pull down the demo and kind of get to know it for this competition?
Yeah, I had to work with those 10 days trial versions. Yeah. So I had 10 days to do all my stuff, what I did.
And a great job you did too. I'm going to play a couple of things because we got a little bit of your entries here on this pre-prepared SoundCloud page. Let me just see if I can go and press play. I'm going to start with the first one, which was Bite the Hype. I've made some notes because a few of these have just something very... There's all have in common just beautiful atmosphere. Another one that I set up here. That was Bite the Hype. Then we also have Hunger Hanger. That was another one. You can go and find these yourself if you go to the competition page on Sonic State. There's a news item which kind of basically tells you who won what and whatever. So what was the first thing that struck you about Iris? I mean, how did you kind of approach it? Did you try? Because I noticed you're using quite a lot of found sounds or field recordings. I mean, do you do field recordings or are they from your phone? I mean, how did you do that?
Well, the way I started is I just got the manual for the Iris and I started reading it. That's, I mean, because I tried to learn it from the basics. I just didn't want to miss anything, and I was kind of straight away focused on succeeding in some way, So I was trying to do my best in that. So I started reading the manual, going through all the basic things I knew or I thought I knew, and then I started experimenting with the sounds which I already had. So basically, I had some different sounds from different places, and that's what I did. I mean, I just started placing the sounds, started playing with the magic wand, or just selecting just drawing something, getting familiar with everything, and this is how it started. I just started doing. I managed to do something nice. I just saved this version and then built something else from it. And at the end, I tried to choose what I liked the most, and that's what appeared on the SoundCloud.
Right. So, what we have there is that actually just the distillation of the process. There was more. You mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, are most of these patches actually single patches, or did you layer up stuff?
No, I mean, each sound, whatever. I mean, each submission is one patch.
Just one patch. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of, I mean, we've got Dave here. Obviously, he was kind of one of the designers or producers of the instrument.
Yeah.
And I mean, is there anything specific about it that kind of that made it more possible to do what you did? You know, because I mean, you work in sound design, right? I mean, is this something that you're going to be coming back to?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still building my own portfolio to get into the industry, and that was a good kick in the butt for me to just to see that I can do it. You know, so don't give up, go do it. You know, yeah. So what I liked about it is just that I could select the frequencies and whatever I could find the music in. In something where it doesn't have anything like musical.
The first one that we listened to, which is called "Bite the Hype," says it was a sample recording of a ceremony of priest voice in Notre Dame Cathedral. That's kind of like, were you there with your headphones on in the kind of the stereoscopic mic, or was that sort of a phone kind of recording?
No, actually, that recording was made. I think I had H2 Zoom at that moment, and it was kind of nice. It's not the best recording ever, but. I mean, I think it was successful enough to give me that nice ambience, a nice melody. Because when I filtered the sound, that nice melody in the background, if you will listen to it again, that's the priest himself, talking, speaking, making his speech. So yeah, you wouldn't guess it, if you wouldn't know that that's the priest.
And I'm playing it again now. Do you find that that keeps the stereo field intact from samples, or are you creating a lot of that space using the actual synthesis engine? Because one thing that was common to an awful lot of the entries was the sort of width and just sort of general ambient size of patches. They sound very fulsome.
Yeah, well, I did. I mean, everything. Some sounds I tried to pan. Some sounds. I mean, I used a lot of effects in the iris itself. So I used a lot of reverb and delay. So probably that helped a lot of. That helped a lot in spreading the sounds, making the sound wider.
Yeah, no, that's something that definitely kind of really made a big difference to. So I noticed, if I just go to here, we're looking at your website here, which is noise-x.com for those who are interested. This is kind of you're basically. Are you just starting out in sound design, or is this kind of an ongoing business for you? Is it how's that?
No, I mean. Basically what happened, I had a degree in international business management, and I was always having music like a hobby, or it was just following me since I was born. But for some reason I was trying just to avoid making my living from it, and what happened, I just worked in insurance, different offices and everything, and then I just realized that I've got to do something in my life in order to stay sane, Yeah, and that's how I appeared in London. I came here looking for something, trying to understand what I really want, and I applied to study in London College of Music Technology course.
Okay.
Yeah, so today. I'm 27 and I'm on the second year again.
Okay. So you're doing that. What's that, SAE, or where are you?
It's sorry, I just SAE. I don't know what this means actually.
Oh no, there's a School of Audio Engineering, I think is what it stands for.
No. That's no. My university is West London University, part of London College of Music.
Okay, great.
Those music technology courses there.
So are these pictures? Are these pictures here of your of your setup, or are they just kind of fashion shots for your because it looks like a great what desk is that? That looks like a nice desk. Is that actually your setup?
That's the audience. Yeah, but that's not my desk. I mean that website is like like a goal for myself, which I'm trying to because I think I lost quite a few years wandering around and
okay, so you're basically
I'm trying to catch up with things. I'm doing university again, but I'm trying to do as much as I can. I'm trying to learn as much as I can, and that website is basically for me to put my work into, because whatever I do at university, all the assignments and everything is for university, but I'm trying to do my portfolio, my demo, my reel there,
right. So it's when you finished, it's populated and ready to roll, and you can use it as a front door, a calling card, I guess.
Yeah. I'm just, I'm trying to put myself into the space so people can see that I'm there, I can do the job, and hopefully by the end of my university, maybe I'll get something to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, wish you the best of luck with that. That sounds great. So, what module are you currently studying in your course? What is it that you're currently focused on?
Well, it's recording. So we've got recording techniques. We've got synthesis. Well, we had music video production. I'm not sure what's new. What's going to be new in this year, but I'm sure that we'll have sound studio techniques second part, which is I really love this module because I've got Pip Williams as a tutor, and he's a really great man. He knows a lot, and so I'm quite lucky to be there.
Excellent. Oh, well, that sounds like it's really good. So I'm glad you managed to take some time out to talk to us. That's fantastic. Mark, you were kind of one of the judges here. Have you got anything you'd like to add, or any questions you want to throw at Tom?
I think I almost certainly picked Tom's sounds because they sounded like sounds that I might have made with a Nord modular many moons ago, and I really like that kind of the whole etheric kind of, I don't know, the whole thing reminds me of Edward Scissorhands. I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but I love that kind of filmy, atmospheric kind of feel to it. So, and I must admit that I did want to pick one of yours, but because you'd sampled my voice, I kind of had to say that it was a second choice and a vanity choice, really. Absolutely loved what you did with my voice on that.
Was that the one, the future one? Let's see.
Yeah.
It's called
In-Betweener. Let me see if I can play it.
I felt like I'm being transported into the past and the future at the same time.
Yes, exactly. I also tend when I was judging these, I went through the different files and I looked very much at what people have been doing underneath to find out how you'd made the sounds, and I found the way that you'd gone about approaching using the software and designing the sound and making the sounds really interesting. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say.
No. Well, thank you, though. Thank you very much.
That's funny.
Thanks.
Oh, Gaz, you got a delivery coming there? Anything exciting?
No. I'm just in order to get the networking, my cable's too short, so I'm sitting on the stairs at the moment, right by the front door.
Ah, okay. You look like you're sort of hiding under the stairs, in amongst the coats. It looks like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe or something.
Yeah, but my friend is just getting a long cable now, so I'll be able to go somewhere a little more comfortable.
Excellent. Yeah. Truly mobile, Gaz. I don't know what to say. Excellent. So, Tom, what's next for you? I mean, you got plans as soon as you leave college? I mean, have you got something lined up? I mean, jobs are hard to come by in this industry. So, I mean, have you got a kind of strategy to?
Yeah. So the strategy is, to get the first class diploma and to do as much as I can in building my own portfolio. That's what counts today. I mean.
It's doing rather than learning, isn't it? I mean,
I really believe that good people, the professional people in industry, even if it's tough, there are not enough jobs. I mean, they will get through it, because everybody needs quality. Everybody wants to work with nice and hardworking professional people. So, I'm trying to be that person, So my goal is to earn as much skills as I can, build as many portfolio videos, demos as I can, and so I at the moment I'm just taking like video, and I'm taking all the sound out and
Game Trader. In fact, I've got one of yours here. Actually, I could play it quickly if you want to have a look. We just quickly have a look. I found one on the site, and this was from a trailer for Rage, I believe.
Yeah, sounds.
And you just replaced all of the stuff, all the Foley, everything, right?
All of it, yeah.
Quite a challenging environment, because I mean this stuff is, the production stuff on this, I mean presumably is massively high budget, so
For some reason it's in the echo server. It's not supposed to be like this.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't catch that.
It seems to be like there is a lot of echo, so yeah.
It may be just the whole Skype kind of coming back and going through. So because I haven't got any reverbs or anything on things, but yeah, I mean how long did that take? Because that was like a couple of minutes long at least, isn't it? Is that a kind of something evenings and weekends?
Well, after I finished first year, I kind of decided that summertime I spent just working on my portfolio, and so I've been, I had a lot of free time just working on this. So I think I've done it like in a week, or just a bit over a week. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I've done a lot of like field recordings for it, and so basically I just get the video, I take all the sound out, and I take the piece of paper and start just making a plan what I need, what I want, or what the vision is, and then I go out.
It's very much like the way that they do it for major features, isn't it? I mean, they kind of go, right, because they all do things like, right, we need our own set of gun sounds. They go out to range and they record it in all sorts of ways and just kind of create their own custom stuff rather than using sound library things. And it definitely seems like a very good strategy. So yeah, good idea.
What do you use to do your field recordings then? What recorder are you using?
Well, I've got DR100 MK2. And I still use my H2 Zoom.
Zoom?
Yeah, it's still, being a student is not so easy to get a proper recording.
The H4? Zoom H4, is that? Using a Zoom H4?
No, I've still got that old H2.
Right.
Yeah.
No, they're good though, aren't they? I mean, apart from the fact they fall to pieces, the actual sound quality of them is quite good.
Yeah, I mean, if you get the chance, Tom, the H4N is a really good recorder. Actually, it's a bit more robust, and it's got 4-channel potential as well, so you can do kind of close and ambient with it as well. It's just a great recorder.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that.
Look, Gaz is back in his studio now.
Okay, so he's back there. So we're all shifting about all over the place. Well, Tom, I want to say thank you very much for joining us. That's great. What I've got, because I'm going to have to do the ad now, and I don't know if you wanted to stick around for any of the topics afterwards. You're more than welcome, but if you have to go, then this might be a good kind of punctuation to do it. So I'll leave that up to you. I mean, if you let me know, then I can accommodate. I can figure out what to do. Are you going to stick around, or are you going to?
Yeah, I'll stick around for a while. Yeah.
Great,
yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Right. Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say thank you very much to the show sponsors. Of course, Yamaha have been sponsoring the show for quite some time now, and at the moment they want to tell you about their world of applications. Did you know they've got over 20 apps for iOS devices, from editing the various keyboards and synthesizers. We've got the voice editor, we've got the multi-editor, which works with the Motif XF, MOX, S90X, S70XS, Motif XS and Rack XS, allow you to tackle all kinds of parameters. You've got touch control, fader control, parameter control, effect control, XY control, all kinds of things. There's also the Synth Up and Drum Pad app, which you may have seen gone past. That's actually new. It's got software synthesizer built in with 61 sounds, 7 kits, plus arpeggiators, MIDI controllers and the like. We've also got, this is one of my favourite because me and Gaz reviewed it for the sound for Sonic Touch some time back, which is the setlist editor, which allows you to sort of take notes for various tracks within your set and then throw out program changes over MIDI to all the various devices. Really utilitarian and good. This is it coming past now. Lots and lots of different applications basically available from Yamaha. Do check them out. It's not just for motifs and XS, there's all sorts of other utilitarian ones too. So what we'd like to do is encourage you to go to the iTunes store and check out the Yamaha World of Apps, or you can go to uk.yamaha.com and check out what they've got to offer. Oh, I timed that perfectly this time. Thanks once again to Yamaha for their continued sponsor of the show. Really much appreciated. And we have Gaz back now. I'll show you there. I can prove that he's there. His little icon is bouncing away. So we can move on now to some of the other topics that we had lined up as well. I want to say thanks to Tom. And Tom's going to stick around and hopefully contribute too. So that'd be great to hear your opinion on some of these as well. Right, we're going to start first with, well, I mean, how could we fail to have this one?
To another episode of Electric Independence. Today we're going to go and talk with Moby in his home studio, who apparently has a huge collection of analog instruments.
Indeed he does. I'm going to talk over these because every time I play a YouTube video now, what happens is the copyright machine on YouTube flags it, recognises the audio and then just basically busts me, which is really kind of irritating. But I'm going to stop talking when the music starts.
Drums and boxes anymore. You know, drums all exist on the computer. And I understand if I had a software company or a synth company, I would make plugins because you don't have to build a box. For me, it's almost like this is like my Noah's Ark for drum machines. I collect them, I think they sound great, and I love that they all come with some like residual history. The fact that they've all been used and had drinks spilled on them and people have sweated on them. You know, that's as much as I like the world of plugins, no one ever sweats on a plugin.
Right, I'm going to stop there because there's some more music and I'll probably get busted and I'm getting a bit sick of getting the copyright notices. But, Dave Spears, you sent this one in and I must say there was a certain similarity to that background, to the background of your place, which is, once again, here. We can see, look, this is why you got the shells, all the stuff on. So, Dave, we may have seen something here before. This was part of the Motherboard TV Electric Independence. You've got some similarities there. What's that one? Is that a Bentley?
That's a Chamberlain. That is a Wurlitzer. This up here is a mad Scottish thing which runs on 8-track cartridges. That's a CR78.
Sounds like Ken MacBeth.
Somewhere over here. What? Ken? I think Ken runs on whiskey.
We'll be on to him later. Oh, Dave,
and then that's our favourite. That's our little beauty. So this is a 1-inch. There's in here is a 1-inch tape, and you pull this tape, and this pulls the tape head across the tape, and there's 16 tracks. And we think that this was one of the first drum machines in existence. That's a Chamberlain Rhythm Mate, but very early. And it's weird because actually what really interested me, first of all, was the obsessive nature of Moby's collecting, which I have an affinity with. And also the fact that at the end he says he doesn't know anyone in the world who's got a Wurlitzer Sideman drum machine. And we do have. Yeah, but it's not at my house. So when my missus goes, well, can't Chris take any of this stuff in his house? I have to explain that actually Chris has a Wurlitzer Sideman next to his bed, and on top of that is a Philips Philcordia and various other things. So, yes. And the whole video. I just really like the whole video. And
it's great. There's
this idea. Custom, you know, like one-off drum machines that look like there.
And also what I really liked about it is he said, yeah, well, I used to kind of be into drum machines, and then, you know, eBay happened. and that's all he actually had to say. eBay happened and I made a shitload of money making records. Those two things together have got to be the death knell for kind of, you know, any spare shelf space in your existence. And there was something else that he mentioned which was just particularly cool. There was that they had all those doubles and triples, and he was saying that the problem was you know, somebody would post the wrong photo, misdescribed, and he'd just buy it and it would show up and it would turn out to be something he already had. And so he would end up with more of them. And, you know, obviously this is luxury for something, you know, not everybody can afford this kind of luxury, but I mean, he didn't feel like he was kind of going, yeah, and I've got loads of money. It was just a really quite nice, honest, and sort of personal little kind of interview, which I really enjoyed, actually.
I loved the fact that he was so passionate about it. And also, it's not... you don't have to spend hideous money to get stuff, you know. Really, you just have to kind of look in the right places, and sometimes even on eBay you can find some amazing deals on stuff. I've got a bit of a thing going on with a particular genre of instrument at the minute, and I think last week, well, I haven't bought anything in this genre, and I'm not going to reveal what it is, but like last week, you know, one sold for like £4 and one was like £10. So I think it's just kind of
well, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, you could. I mean, you know, let's just play the devil's advocate here. That Moby only made that to bump up the price of all the drum machines so that he could sell his duplicates. Because obviously, you know, maybe this record didn't sell as well as some of his early. You know, it was no play, was it? The last album, and in fact, hardly had any electronic instruments on it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But that's probably a little bit harsh. I don't know. I know, Mark. I mean, I'm sure you can identify with that kind of obsessive collection concept, can you?
I can. I mean, I'm not as obsessive as that, but Nick Rhodes is definitely as obsessive, but more with synthesizers. And really our favourite, I mean, when I was working with Nick a lot in the 90s, our favourite thing was the Peter Forrest auctions, the vintage musical equipment auctions. And we used to spend more time sitting going through Peter's catalogues, looking to see what was coming up in the auction and how much we might want to bid on it, than we did doing any work, actually. We did buy all sorts of weird things from Peter, and I did as well. I've got some. I mean, the things I've got which are in my collection, which I probably wouldn't part with, are things like a little Boss percussion synthesizer, which has like 6 orange knobs on it, and it's got a blue pad, and you hit this blue pad, and it basically does all the kind of Simmonsy sounds, but
right,
it's
like a Sinair kind of thing.
Pedal.
That sounds cool.
Format. So that's quite nice. I did have a Bentley Rhythm Ace, but I lent it to my friend Darryl, who I was in the Garden of Eden with many years ago, and he had an argument with his wife and threw it down the stairs.
Terrible. I just want to say Mac Doctor is going great guns in the chat room with links for interesting links for drum machine origination. So if you're thank you very much for that additional bit of information. Tom.
Yeah.
What I mean, I'm guessing, you know, you kind of pleaded the poor student kind of struggling on the course. I mean, do you have access to kind of bespoke electronics, or, you know, have you got kind of physical instruments, or are you forced to work pretty much in the box just through budgetary reasons?
Well, at home there is only one synthesizer I use, and that's Wireless C.
Okay.
And I quite like it. I mean, it's great and cheap, affordable synthesizer. It's not new, you know, but it does the job. But at uni, we've got a couple of old synthesizers, and my favorite is VCS3.
Good man.
That's an amazing piece of gear. Hopefully, I'll be able to buy one.
I've always wanted is the Synthia AKS, the suitcase one. That's the one I've always wanted. And Dave, you came down with one the other day, and it just rekindled all of that sort of desire to have one. But they're just silly money. But yeah.
Well,
I think finding a rich seam of instruments that you can kind of tap and get on eBay for a tenner is really where it's at, isn't it? I know, Gaz, I mean, you're very you're quite disciplined with your equipment. You know, you kind of but by the same token, you're always saying, "Oh, I wish I hadn't sold that." You sort of impulsively sell and buy. I get that impression. Is that right?
I think I'm always kind of looking at the horizon rather than looking backwards. But there was something I wanted to mention about the Moby video, which I thought was quite funny. Was he says earlier, he's saying about how the good thing with electronic music is, you know, with headphones on, you know, you can be making music at 3 o'clock in the morning and not disturb your mum. And then he goes on to say, this is a facsimile of my first studio that I had set up in my my mother's bedroom. So now I was kind of thinking, was that there? He wasn't disturbing his mum when she was in the bed alongside him as he's making his electronic music.
Yeah, he was from a humble background, I'm guessing. But then he went on to say that the drum kit and stuff is set up in. I'm guessing it's a New York apartment. I don't know where it is, but he's got 6 tons of sand in the floor, and the whole thing's floated. So yeah, I mean, he's obviously. But I mean, if you've got it and he likes the place, then great. You can just get on with it. That's fantastic. But there's some interesting stuff there.
I was wondering about his. Oh, sorry, I'm cutting someone else off.
After you. I was
just saying, I was wondering about his neighbour below. If he's got, did he say 6,000?
6,000 pounds. 6
tons, yeah. But if that's above someone's flat in a dodgy old New York apartment, and that goes wrong, that could cause havoc in the building, couldn't it?
I'm guessing it's probably one of those kind of concrete infrastructure buildings. I mean, if you were the stalking type, you could probably narrow down what sort of building that could happen with, and gradually, sort of through the process of elimination, narrow it down to several properties that could house that kind of infrastructure, and then figure out where he lives. If you were that way inclined.
And then drill a hole through the ceiling and steal all
a little cartoon hole through the ceiling, and the sand just gradually drips through. When the sand runs out, the drum kit just drops like this onto the floor. Dunk. The floor is no longer floated.
The album's ready for delivery.
That's an idea. Yeah, the sands just run out, and when the sands are finished, then the album is ready. I like the sound of that. Maybe that's what he's doing for his current album. I'm sure he must, if he's working on one. I mean, I have no idea whether he is or not. But yeah, great little video. That definitely, really, really enjoyed that. It's quite an old one. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything I can link to, but I'm sure you can find out about Moby if you want. Obviously, Moby was massively successful with Play. I think didn't they say it was the most synced album up until probably the next one. Now all you have to do is do kind of like uplifting emotional stuff, and you get on all the bloody backstories for the X Factor, The Voice, Britain's Got Talent, any program where there's a backstory. All you have to do is get some sort of uplifting emotional piano and rock progression, and you'll sell tons of it. Now that's what I call emotional. You could have an album, couldn't you? Maybe. Tom, there you go. You want to make some library music that is basically just uplifting emotional pieces that they can run as backing to X Factor backstories. There's got to be a niche there. Probably a bit soul destroying, I'd imagine, after the first couple of tracks, but could be some good money in it.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm sure you're better than that. Right, what next up? What's in your? This sort of follows on a little bit because it's kind of what have you found in your attic? And I'm guessing this might be applicable to you, Dave, really, because you're clearing out your space at the moment. This was a story on Synthtopia. Apparently, Gary Numan posted this. I don't know if it's not in April, so I don't think it would be an April Fool's. He was clearing out his attic, and he found amongst the straw and cobwebs an original Mini Moog. Basically up there, clearing out my garage loft yesterday, cut away some ivy and creepers and found this original spec Mini Moog. Now that's careless to lose something like that, but not perhaps as careless as this. I'm not quite sure this is. I found one of these sitting unused in my school's basement. That's, I think, is a full ARP 2500 system. That is gorgeous. They are pretty rare. No, not ARP. Is that an EMU?
No, ARP.
ARP 2500. I was right. God, thanks, Dave. I nearly embarrassed myself totally. So, Dave, I'm going to ask you first. What have you found when you've been clearing out? What was the last thing you found? Oh, I've forgotten about that.
I found Steve Strange in the back of a cupboard. Not hearing around going, can I mix something? No,
was he still strange?
I found loads of stuff, but not necessarily in cupboards, in lockups and things. I'm trying to kind of consolidate things into one particular area because I'm kind of, we lend people things, and then it's like, okay, so, actually, who's got that, and who's got this, and and then I've got about 5 storage places with drums, everything from drums to keyboards. So it's kind of like, let's move everything into one place. I found an Emacs, which I gave to Dean, who was on last week, in exchange for some patches. I found a really old Krumar Road Racer piano, which is probably worth about £5. What else have I found? I found some pretty interesting stuff. I told you before, I found a video of me in a butcher's dog advert.
Okay, what age were you in?
No, it wasn't that long ago. It was probably about 15 years ago. I was kind of working, I was doing sound on this advert shoot, and then they needed an extra. They needed a paper boy. So there's me, fat me, on a bike with flat tires, putting paper through a door and then stroking a dog. And that's definitely not a euphemism.
No, I'm glad to hear that. Well, that sounds like a thrilling adventure. And as I said, I think before in the pre-show, that's something that we need to see on YouTube. I don't think there's any way around that. You're going to have to basically take it to a telecine provider, get it put on a CD. I don't care how much it costs.
I've just been to the dump and dropped loads of stuff off, and then my wedding video was done by a really good friend who I was on this video shoot with, who runs a video company, and he did all of our wedding video on like Digibeta, so it's a pretty high-end wedding video.
Oh, cool.
But I haven't got a Digibeta player, and my my VHS recorder's packed up, so I've literally just dropped both tapes off with him on the way back from
to
the
get
dump
them transferred.
to go, can you transfer them? Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, that's kind of, I've just derailed that topic. What else? Just loads, spider sequencer.
Bloody hell. Well, you obviously got way too much stuff lying around there. Gaz, what have you found recently? Have you actually kind of, is there anything that you've just sort of located? Oh, bloody hell, I didn't realise I had that. I'm guessing probably not, given our previous conversation about this.
Well, it's almost not even worth mentioning, but hang on, where is it? I was having a rummage in the attic yesterday, funnily enough, and I found a box of something I don't own anymore. I looked inside the box.
Oh, we've lost your video. Your video's gone all funny. Losing your bandwidth's gone, I'm afraid. We're just about to get the payoff there. Hello?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, but you're cutting in and out very much so.
What's going on? I'm on a wire now as well.
What's that? Why? What is that?
Oh, Dave's showing us something as well.
I found this. It's an Electro Harmonics triggered filter, which I bought in America in 1978, and it still works.
God, has it still got the original battery in it?
Hang on a minute, I'll be back in a second.
This is more like it. This is what I was hoping for. We want show and tell. What's that, a bong?
No, this is, amazingly enough, this is an Electro Harmonics Pet Light, it's called. And again, I bought that in America in like 1978. And it's just kind of, it's like these kind of audio sensitive LEDs, which must have been really state of the art. I haven't got a 9-volt battery in there to do it, but I mean, blimey. That's way cool. They light up, you know, it's like little disco lights.
Does it make a noise?
No, it just recognises noises and then these LEDs light up. I used to put it on Miss Simmons' kit and stuff like that.
Who do you think you are, Bernard Purdy? With
Yeah, like that.
You are working with the LED drummer.
But that's really cool. Triggered filter, Electro Harmonics. Anyway.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
It still works. It's like,
I don't know if Gaz, we seem to have Gaz back. You were about to show us something, or tell me something.
A really thrilling, exciting thing.
Yeah, build up now. Better be good.
A little right angle mini jack adapter.
Jesus Christ. I'd get that in the vault as soon as possible. That's priceless.
But you wouldn't believe how useful it is for a particular puzzling little thing I've been having for ages. And so as little as it may be, it's actually hugely important.
Excellent. I'm going to have to go and see. I've got something that will be of interest, perhaps. I think I found something. I hope I can find it. I'm going to just head off now quickly. If I do this, and I'll just quickly go into the rummage around in the storeroom. 1 second. You can talk amongst yourselves, folks, while I do that. I'll just put you back to there.
So, Machine 1.8 has just come out for machine heads. It's pretty cool. Have we gone?
what happened?
Am I here? Am I live?
I'm back.
I can hear you.
Oh, cool.
All right.
Found that.
Machine, I was just saying, Machine 1.8 has come out, which I was just gonna fill in with. Is pretty cool. For me, it's pretty cool because I think that there's been some real workflow kind of flaws. I really think so in the previous version, and I think the 1.8 actually, for me, sorts out the problems I was having. So if you haven't upgraded to it, or if you are on the, just on the fence about going for one. I think the new version definitely has got a better workflow involved. Why that is, I think being able to mute all sample voices that are playing, I think is just really, really is so important, because if you've got like a 20-second sample going and you press stop, you'd have to wait for the whole sample to play through before it would stop. And so many good things.
I've got this, which is a gooseneck ribbon mic that is beautifully built. Sounds absolutely terrible. You'd think, bet that sounds nice, but it doesn't. It sounds like it's in the middle of a pillow and there's absolutely no definition to it. But it's a beautiful thing. I think I bought it at a jumble sale. I think it's one of those kind of bingo caller type things. In fact, it'd be a whole lot. I feel like maybe I should have it from the ceiling, or hey, let's get ready to rumble. That kind of thing.
Very, very cool. Did I tell you my ARP 2500 story?
No, but I think you better.
Save
us.
On that note. No. I mean, this is, like kind of when email was new and invented. Oh, there you go, baseballs. Yeah, I like that. Somebody called a friend
of mine. Though, isn't it?
Is it? No.
The Electro-Harmonics?
It's the same make, but it's not the same thing.
No, look at the controls. Look at what you have on there.
Is that an envelope follower?
Yes.
Is it? It's the same thing.
Yours is a prototype.
There you go.
This was from about 1980 something, so it's. I think they just maybe rebranded it.
Cue balls. That's much better.
That's the current one.
Well, that's got more than one knob on it.
To be honest,
is the same.
This was Electro-Harmonic show and tell. Tom, are you feeling a bit left out? Have you got anything made by Electrolux?
I have nothing to show here.
I've got nothing. I've got something else, but it looks. This is really quite.
That's spooky.
I've ruined your story.
What in your hand?
Oh yeah, this is a. It's like a voice.
For some reason, I can't see you at all.
You can't see me at all.
No, I think just loading the picture and it doesn't come up.
Well, that's just Skype for you. This is a voice modifier that looks a bit like a large.
Looks like something I bought my wife.
Right. Okay. I was going to say the word then, but I think I'll just leave it to imagination.
A clarinet. A MIDI clarinet.
It's like a MIDI clarinet. That's it. Yes, pretty much. That's the sort of thing. So show and tell seems to have been very successful there. Tom, I'm guessing, do you not get the chance? I suppose in London, the thing is you're unlikely to peruse kind of various stores and jumble sales where things like that haven't already been snapped up by people who get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to find such things. I mean, you have to probably head out of London town to get those kind of bargains, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know the places. That's the problem, because all the local people, they knew everything, and they probably don't want to share the information.
Yeah.
I'll be the one who's there 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you'll be the one who's paying 50 quid more than they paid for it. Yeah, that's exactly. But that's just the way it goes, isn't it? You can't always get all of that stuff. So, but that was an enjoyable dig in the archives of stuff there. So nice. Oh, sorry, Mark, yes.
Yeah, while I was away, I did want to share something, actually.
Please do.
And it's like a little Gary Numan story, because I went to work with him many, 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 many years ago. And I drove to where he lived, and I drove onto this estate, and he came down and met me or something. So I think I was in... Oh, no, we went off to go in a plane, I think. And then when we came back in, there was like a barn that had kind of, which was a sort of a garage on the edge of his property that had kind of collapsed on top of this car. And as we drove past, I kind of went, "Oh, what's that in there?" And he said, I think it's a Maserati or a Lamborghini or something. And it had broken down and he couldn't get the part for it. And he just kind of left it sitting there. And I thought that was like the most extraordinary thing. But so I guess the same things happened with that Moog.
Didn't he leave a plane in Moog? He left a plane in a barn as well, didn't he?
The what?
A plane. Didn't he? He used to. Wasn't he the one who flew?
Yeah, he had a Harvard.
I did go up in a plane with him, which was like actually really good fun. Probably one of the best days I've had working as a music, technology person, going up in a plane.
That part of the brief, brilliant.
That mini Moog is actually in my loft, and Gary was wandering around, so he thinks it is.
He thinks it is. He's just been round. He sleepwalks, I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sleepwalks. Just. Terrible business. Right, let's see what else we got. There is, this was cool. This was, I like this. This is the sound of 9 oscillators of
MacBeth.
Yeah, this is a I'm see if I can get this to sound now. Hold on, if I press play. Maybe I'll start at the beginning, even. This is 3 Micromacs played in unison, 9 oscillators set to different pitches, 3 sawtooth waveforms, 6 triangular waveforms, and going through the 3 low-pass filters and 3 VCAs. I do like that. I must admit, the Micromac is something that I'm really quite thrilled at. I had another video lined up. This was Ken at
hi there, it's
Winter NAMM.
NAMM time again in California. I have 2 of my new products.
And he plays it a little bit later. I won't.
One is the Micromac, and
get
one
to
is
the playing bit.
Vortex.
I think he just says, yeah.
As well. The third oscillator
can
modulate the oscillation filter.
So all your stuff's always been really
dark energy. Is dark energy. The idea of.
Let's see what. Ken is a bit of a character. I mean, even on that sort of slightly compromised audio there from a show floor, even though obviously we do the best coverage with the best audio quality sound, folks, just want to point that out. You can tell how massive that sounds. In fact, that sounds more massive than the 9 oscillators to me. But this Micromac looks lovely and it sounds absolutely fantastic. And it's probably the first, of Ken's stuff that I thought, apart from the M5, which is way too big, that I'd really quite like to have. I know you, Tom, you kind of like piped up that you kind of knew about that. Do you know about Ken MacBeth's stuff? Is he somebody that's on your radar from a synthesizer point of view?
Yeah. For a while, I have him on my Facebook, and so he posts all the pictures of his stuff, of his new gear coming in from the factories, and it's really nice to see all that. And I always love the synthesizers, so that's just a big pleasure for me to enjoy that internet connection, because it's really cool. It's just there. It's not like reading something in the newspaper. It's live. You can even talk to him if you want. So I heard.
He's very interesting, Carol. We've talked to him about. There's some great Ken MacBeth stories, but we'll try and keep this to. The Micromac for now, in case we get sued. But I'm hoping to get one down for review, because he's also done one as a Dope-for module, I think, as well, if I remember correctly. But Dave, this sounds lovely, doesn't it? I mean, you wouldn't say no, would you? You wouldn't kick it out of your rack?
No, I like Ken's work a lot. I'll tell you what's funny is that when I heard that and when I saw what he'd done, I did a video on the 8 voice where I put all of the 8 SEMs into unison, and then I tune each of the oscillators differently so you can play a chord from one finger. And it was really interesting hearing Ken's version, which is very kind of... Ken's stuff does sound very kind of mogy, overdriven, whereas with the 8 voice, everything's more creamy, let's say.
Cleaner, right?
So go GeForce TV, look up the 8 voice video and check it out. I think it's actually what I use, but that video's had something stupid like 45,000 hits in something like, sort of 6 months, which is kind of crazy. But to get back onto the subject, I'd like at least one of everything that Ken made.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice?
Please, Ken.
These are, if I go to Ken's website, let's see, we can have some more sexy shots there of the Micromac. 3 oscillator synths. With the third oscillator can work as an LFO. It has an LFO mode. I don't think it's got a dedicated LFO. I can't see that, so I think you can use it either way. But yeah, I think they're about 1,500 quid. So actually, that's not. It's a lot of money. But it's not beyond the realms of possibility, I guess.
The thing is, his stuff is so well made and it sounds so good. I know everybody seems to be jumping on this whole boutique synth bandwagon at the minute, but there are some people who are kind of elite at this job, and then there are others who are just sort of wannabes, and Ken is definitely in that upper echelon. And I don't know Ken personally, I don't, so I've got, I'm not kind of...
No, it's lovely stuff. I don't know. Gaz, you thinking maybe? You haven't got any modular stuff. I think it's about time you made the leap.
what that recording inspired for me. I thought it was really good for a start, but I just was wondering what would happen if you tried to recreate a similar sort of thing with something like Omnisphere, just to see if you could get that, that richness with software, or if it is purely the analog realm, So I might actually go ahead and do that after the show, because I'm just intrigued really. Because when I was listening to that, I was thinking, lush, And from what I've seen, I have no experience of Ken's stuff. I've seen them only through YouTube videos. Looks great, but other than that, don't know.
Yeah, it'd be good. I know, Mark, you're probably not in synthesizer buying mode, really, are you, at the moment? So I'm guessing this is probably not for you. But
if I was, I'd be buying that.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to know.
I mean, I love his stuff. Absolutely love it. I just don't have the resources for anywhere to put it, or I'm going in the other direction. And
streamlining
turned me on to this audio interface, the Focusrite DSP-24. So I'm now in virtual room monitoring mode as well. So I'm going to go to laptop, FireWire interface, and a guitar.
Wow. That's when
I go the other way, I'll go with Ken.
You'll go with Ken's stuff. Yeah, like I said, I've been kind of occasionally in touch with him saying, "Oh, can we review one? Can I have one in for review?" I'd love to, because we're getting some more Eurorack stuff in. Hopefully, I think Pittsburgh Modular are sending us a kind of complete synthesizer system, which they're selling as a kind of a single unit. I forget the name of the model, but it's like a sort of synth in a box kind of idea. So there will be some more of that coming along. In fact, we've got tons of stuff in for review at the moment. I can't get it out the door quick enough. I need more of me. I need more me and and less outgoings. If we can we fix that for me, please?
Less overheads and more me's.
Yeah, less overheads and more me's. Can we possibly have? Yeah, what we need is a sort of sugar daddy sponsor for the podcast that just basically makes everything kind of all right. I don't have to worry about money at all for as long as I live. I think that's unlikely though, given the niche, nature of our podcast. But I guess there's no harm in putting that kind of thing out there. Maybe I should start some kind of a what's it called? What's the crowdsource? The Kickstart project. That just basically there is no product at the end. It's just donate. Just give me stuff, and let's set some ridiculously high amount. That would keep me going for the rest of my life. Obviously, I'll work. I mean, I'm not just going to kind of not do anything. I'd continue to review, but yeah, I think it's unlikely. That's a great one, though. So Ken MacBeth. But actually, what you were saying there, Gaz, really sort of ties in with the next topic, which was that I spotted this from Vince Clarke, which was basically, I'll see if I can zoom this in. If I can zoom it in, might be able to read it. It basically says he sent a tweet out. At the Cabin Studio is his handle, which is actually worth following. He's actually quite prolific, although not all of it is music technology related. But at the Cabin Studio, to do deconstruct an NI massive tempo sync patch and emulate and refine using the System 100. That sounds like an interesting challenge. And funnily enough, I was trying to find some videos of people that had just gone, I'm going to take a soft synth and I'm going to try and recreate it in synthesis form, rather than just a straight A-B, this is a Moog emulation, this is a Moog. I couldn't find anything anywhere, and it just seemed, there's a whole rich seam, a rich vein of video content that you could do that. I'm guessing that you, Dave, though, probably do or have had to do this kind of thing just purely because you make software synthesizers, right?
Yeah.
So how does it tend to work?
With great attention to detail. No, I mean, it's really just analysis, isn't it? I mean, I suppose no kind of big secret to it. You just analyze the waveform, see what you can get in whatever your in destination is, and then make comparisons and constantly make comparisons. The tempo synced bit of his tweet made me giggle, actually, more than anything.
That would be quite a challenge, wouldn't it?
Good luck with that.
Yeah, maybe go via the 808 and some clock. So take the rim out, the rim shot output and sync that to MIDI. Yeah, that'll be quite a laugh.
Yeah, no, I really, really enjoy it. I've kind of got quite good at it over the years.
Do you just use waveforms, or are waveforms important, or do you just use your ears more than anything else?
A lot of it depends on the task. Ears are obviously pretty critical. But sometimes you do have to look at an oscilloscope and really do some pretty serious analysis.
I've just noticed for the first time you're wearing buds rather than headphones.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was just an aside. It's got absolutely nothing to do with anything. Tom, I'm guessing that maybe part of your synthesis, because you're studying synthesis as one of the modules that you're doing. I mean, do you have to do things like this? I mean, is this the sort of challenge that would be applicable to the stuff that you're doing in the course, or is it more down to kind of make a decent bass sound kind of thing?
Well, not that cheesy like doing a bass sound, but yeah, we've been working with some modular synthesis. We had to construct our own modular synthesizers, and yeah, when you spoke about the 100M synth system, we've got one of those as well. I quite like it, and I'm not sure if I could do it at this moment, what this guy is talking about, but I would love to try that.
It'd be a great challenge, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe you can talk your lecturer into letting you spend like a week on inventing your own module in of education module. Go, yeah, I'm going to do this. Is that all right? And they go, yeah, and then maybe it could be
this competition. He was really happy about everything. I told him straight away, and probably if I asked to, it could happen.
Brilliant. Oh, well, are you saying that the competition turned into a part of your education coursework?
No, but I had to tell him, my tutor, because he's a nice guy, and I thought it would be just nice to share, because there was a lot of things like still 1 year, learning something in synthesis helped a lot in winning this competition.
I see, got you, because you're applying the stuff you learned. Gaz, I just saw you with a box in your hand that looked like it was quite intriguing. Has it got anything to do with anything, or is it none of my business?
Oh, so we were holding up electroharmonics panel. I just haven't put mine down.
Okay, I got you. Excellent. A big, great idea, though. I mean, Mark, that sounds like the sort of thing that you might kind of enjoy as well. I mean, just sort of taking one, or something that you may have actually had to do in the past, because I'm guessing that when you were working with Duran, obviously taking JP8s on the road or whatever is not really much of a job.
No, we
much
did
of a
that. That still happens. In fact, maybe it's not happening now, because they were talking about putting it in main stage and trying to emulate the Jupiter 8. But Nick is very, very has very acute ears and can tell the difference between a JP8 and a plugin, no matter how good the plugin is. You sit him in front of it and he'll go, no, that's the real one and that's not the real one.
Right.
And more so than I'm ever able to do. So so we took real ones on the road.
I guess you'd have to be, really. I mean, it'd be pretty poor if one of the kind of iconic JP8 users couldn't tell the difference. So it's probably something he has to work at, because if anyone ever catches him out, it's over for him, surely. He's no longer going to be the poster boy for the Jupiter 8.
Maybe. I don't know. He has got very good ears. I mean, he's... I think he probably is one of the people that I would say is responsible for pushing my sound engineering expertise to a completely different level, because I used to mix things and he'd say, no, that's not right, this should be louder, this should be quieter, and I'd sit there and I'd be doing my grumpy kind of, I'm the sound engineer and you're the musician kind of thing, which of course doesn't ever work with a client, does it? We all know that. But and then I'd kind of I'd make the adjustments, and then I'd kind of think, oh God, you know what? He's actually right.
Yeah. There is something about these talented people. There is this, yeah.
Indeed there is, yes. Well, hopefully, let's say, some of that talent rubbed off in my direction, hopefully, and improved my sound engineering.
Excellent. Sorry, you were about to add?
The question at all, have I?
Sorry, you haven't. I don't remember what the question was, to be honest. It's sort of irrelevant.
Right. Okay. Good.
That's no problem. There is also a more sort of sound engineering kind of thing. This is the other thing I found on Reddit, which is another great source for interesting topics and kind of unusual stuff. This was in the what Reddit was this one? We Are the Music Makers, which is a good one, and it was just really a question about fading. And it just reminded me. It was kind of funny because I remember when I started kind of actually having to produce music like remixes and what have you, and fades were the kind of the thing, and pretty much still are, certainly in electronic music, that getting that right was a real kind of art. But I don't know whether or not that's actually still the case, or whether the endings are in, do you know what I mean? Because the fade has become the stock way out of pretty much any kind of music over the years. And I want to know who uses what, really. Do you go for an ending or do you fade? I'm guessing how do you make that choice?
Can I jump in here?
Yes, you may.
Yeah.
Having mastered over 200 albums, I've had to work on endings, so many endings, and I think I am a little bit of a stickler for a good fade, really, and the S-shaped fade, that is the most musically pleasing fade of them all. And
what, slow, fast, fast, slow, fast, slow?
Yeah, so it's but I like to play. I always spend time setting my fades. I really try and get the fades to be as musical as possible. But I do notice, though, very few bands do the long fade out anymore. They tend to, the bands I've been working with, they tend to not go for that as much as they maybe used to. Don't know if that's a trend or not.
I know why that is. It's because when you get to the low dynamic range of MP3s, it just starts going, and it can't, it can't differentiate between the noise floor and the dynamic range, so you can't actually have that anymore.
That's a good point. Yeah, but I think it's funny though when you play with a fade, because if you're really concentrating on the way that the music is kind of like leaving you, you do need to listen to it with a little bit of context to kind of get the feeling, because the music has a momentum, it has a kind of mass, and as that sort of dissipates with the fade has to have some kind of, it does have to be musical. And if you just slam a linear fade on the end of things, it can do some quite, it's just not necessarily the right thing to do. And I think that, I think it's a subtle art, but I always enjoy it. I think it's always quite a nice little touch. When
Have you got a special fader that you use for the final fade out, or do you draw it in automation?
Oh, it's always an automation, yeah. But and
do you get into Bezier curves and all that sort of thing to try and get the actual?
Yeah, I have done, but I mean, to be honest, with the software I use, there's a decent array of pre-shapes, really. But obviously drawing them out at the certain distance, but playing with the shapes, just to try and get the right shape. But as I say, more often than not, the S shape just is just.
Where are you getting that? Is that in Reaper?
Yeah, that would be in Reaper. I was using Studio One, and I think I'm going to recall what I said before about Studio One being the perfect mastering environment. It's an excellent mastering environment, and it does some things better than anything else. But I've gone back to Reaper for my mastering because there's just too many things that Studio One currently doesn't do that Reaper does do. So, and I think a lot of that is to do with the customization. And I mean, really, when it comes to all things, really, Reaper is. I mean, it's hardcore. You do have to really get your hands dirty.
Well, as I've said before, the podcast MP3 podcast version is edited in Reaper every week, and the trick I do is, and I use it in like lots of NLEs when I'm working on very long audio pieces, or video, and I kind of know that the content is pretty much safe. I just play it back at 1.5 times so that I can let I just whip through it, because you get it fast, and I mean you can't really use it with music unless you're working just to see if there are any dropouts or anything.
But you can. I mean, it is the vary speed stuff you can do with it is great though. You can do a lot of the Frank Zappa kind of vary speed sort of techniques and stuff,
really good. It is really good. Tom, do they cover fades in what you do? I mean, because there is, when I always remember, we had this joke that you'd kind of actually give the fade engineer a call, and there'd be a guy who'd show up, especially with his own fader, and he'd do the perfect fade out for you and then go away, and that would be his contribution to the session.
Yeah, well, personally, I try and avoid fades if I can, but in university we had to do some fadings, and I was the person who was doing it.
So you're like this fade specialist in your year, are you?
Yeah.
So what would you do? You try and kind of let the natural ambience tail kind of finish it off for you, or you just do a dead stop? I mean, what do you...
I mean, you have to use some portion of fading, but I personally try to make the natural fade, like a melody fade. You try to finish the track like it has an ending.
Yeah. That's tricky, isn't it?
Of course, then at the end you use your fade, just to cut it at some point.
It's so easy to make very cheesy endings, as we know.
Exactly, yeah.
Dave, I'm sure your years in cover bands must have taught you that the fade is probably the best way out, or am I making a terrible supposition?
It's funny. I recently had trying to finish a track recently, and I've got a really good friend, folk guitarist, and I got him to put loads of guitar, and I kind of fell in love with his guitar playing. And then it kind of came to the outro, and I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? I'm going to fade it. So I'm looking at kind of 4 bars, resolving 8 bars, and he's playing these beautiful little licks in between at the end of every kind of 2 bars. And I'm thinking, shit, I actually just want to do a 16-bar fade. But in reality, I worked with a producer once, a very famous producer, who said that fades were lazy. So what was funny is when he went out the room, I just stopped the track dead and just put a massive, great, an AMT reverb on the end. When he came back in and he said, so how have you done with the various programming bits? I just played him this thing, and I don't think I ever worked with him again.
Oh, no.
Ah, still, it's probably worth the joke, eh?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fades, you do, because if you have to fade, you can't have the transition between a chorus and a bridge or something happening under the fade. It has to be a sort of cyclical point at which you can just take out. And the psychology of it, I'm sure there must be quite a lot to it. And as you said, Gaz, you spent a lot of time with that. So would you chop an arrangement to work under a fade specifically, or do you kind of tend to leave that to the artist?
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly sort of, I don't know. There's a straight answer to that because it sort of varies, but generally, yeah. I don't know really. Sometimes it's a funny old business actually when you actually are working on albums, because artists sometimes have got so much hang-ups about what they've done. And I remember working with this one band, and the songs would end, and then there would be a bit of silence, and then you'd hear a chair creak and a little cough, and then some dog in the background or something. And I'd be wanting to sort of put the fade in and get rid of all that stuff. And he's going, no, you got to leave it there, man. That's all it's all the atmosphere. It's all, and I'm just kind of thinking, it's not, it's actually very boring. You can hear that now because I got it cranked up loud through my studio monitors or whatever. And he's going, oh, no, it sets the scene. And I tried to convince him otherwise, but so we eventually left it on like these long bits. He'd got so used to it. He was one of these obsessive guys, working with headphones and working for hours and hours and hours and hours on this. And to be honest, it wasn't that great anyway. I don't think anyone would have particularly wanted to listen to the whole album anyway. But eventually, he called me back a few weeks later, and he said, "Yeah, can we put those fades in?"
Yeah. Because a friend of mine was listening to it and he thought there was a dog loose in the house and he fell down the stairs and broke his leg or whatever. Yeah. I mean, the thing is also now if you're fading with MIDI faders, the resolution isn't high enough. 127 steps is just nowhere near long enough, particularly when you're getting to the top or the bottom of an S curve. I mean, it has to be done internally unless you've got some other way of doing it, because the resolution is going to be nowhere near good enough.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just stop it.
Just stop.
I was going to say, sorry. Yeah, Dave, your way of doing it's not dissimilar to what I tend to do if I'm not being lazy. If I'm being lazy, I'll just stick a linear fade over the last 8 bars of the song, and that's it. It just fades out and it does its own thing, and then I'm done. If I want to be clever, I'll put different things through different buses, and I'll fade different.
Fade them all out separately.
I fade drums much faster than I fade guitars and basses. I will also bring up the reverb floor, because I know that once it starts going down there, the reverb is going to disappear first. So if I put loads more reverb on as it's fading out, it kind of fades into a sense of space as if it's moving away from you. So that kind of works quite nicely.
That's an interesting idea. Really. Yeah, that idea of bussing stuff and having things fading at different speeds is very effective.
Do that in mastering, can you? You have to do that in your multi-track and
but sometimes I do stem mastering, which I really love, and that's my
thing. Is Gaz, do you find that I'm kind of such a fan of great musos? What I find is normally, take Dale for example, fantastic bass player, but in the song he'll just play what's necessary for the song. It's only on let's rip at the fade out that you start to hear all these kind of amazing licks and stuff like that, and it's that I'm almost kind of going, actually that's better than the track.
That's the little...
I try. I do an opposite to a fade, then I try and boost it up. But no, yeah, it's a very good point actually, and quite often it's the case, when you're doing tracks, if it hasn't got like a hard and fast arrangement, you get to sort of a certain point in the song, and then it's like everything is arranged up until a point, and then you just kind of repeat on, and then the musicians do start kind of cutting loose a little bit in the end, don't they? So I mean,
they know,
yes, yeah, because you think you're past the point where it's all going to be gone by then. But you're right. I think that's where the juicy stuff goes on.
Yeah, I'll try that thing that I didn't think I could pull off in the middle of the song. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa! I've pulled it off. Right. Extend the fade to 32 bars.
Yeah. Well, guys, that was a fascinating discussion, and it sort of brings us to the end of the show, I think. I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. It's been great, and thank you for Tom for sticking with us as well. And I want to say to Tom, obviously, congratulations once again on your winning of the Iris grand prize. Your Sonic State t-shirt will probably be with you next week, where I've got to dig it out of the boxes because there's only a few left, and I keep them in this kind of almost time-locked vault. So I've got to wait till the time lock opens again, and we get the whole lot.
Thanks. It was a pleasure to meet all of you guys, and that's inspiring. So hopefully I won't give up.
But yeah, and what did you choose? What did you shop for? What prize did you actually choose when you with your grand prize? Because you had a couple of grand to spend in the kind of the candy store, right?
Yeah. So I chose to go for the bundle of Ozone 5 Advanced, RX2 Advanced, and then Nectar.
Ah, right, excellent.
So we went for instead of going. I mean, for $2,000 you can get almost everything what they got there, but I chose to go advanced because I believe I will use it wise in whatever I do.
Good call. Well, I hope you do enjoy it. Anyway, thank you, Tom. Thanks for joining us again. Noise-x.com, and keep an eye on what Tom's up to in and out of his university gigs. And also say thank you very much to Mark Tinley, likebeing.com, for joining us there. I hope your headache's got a bit better. Your voice seems to have got higher again.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't think it's changed, Nick. It must be something to do with Skype.
Maybe a sample rate. Maybe your sound kind of
infiltrating my vocal cords or something.
It
You
could
sound
be.
like somebody in a witness protection program.
Yeah.
I need I should go back to the question mark icon then, shouldn't I? Or something. I'm convinced I don't.
I feel I should
I'm not
pixelate.
sure
Your
it is,
webcam's too good, Mark. You should be pixelated really to go along with that voice.
I definitely look like someone else that's kind of eerie looking at this. Who is this man?
Yeah, you've got a chameleon-like quality to you this way. Anyway, Mark, thank you very much for joining us. It's been great fun.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And also Dave Spears, GForceSoftware.com, who will get back to moving out. Oh, that's not you, Dave. Dave, you need to speak, otherwise Gaz will take your place. He'll usurp you. Right, I'll have to go here now. Here you go. I've got you now. Yeah. There, Dave Spears, in your move. So when are you going to be in your new place then? Have they got internet connection? Is this going to be the end of a beautiful thing, or are you going to still be able to be with us?
No, internet connection is going to be a really interesting thing because I'm only technically supposed to be in this place for 6 months, because then during that period I'm moving house and then there's an extension going to be built, so I'm going to move back home again.
Yeah, so 12 months.
But, yeah, realistically 18. So I want a short-term broadband contract. I don't want a phone. I don't want anybody ringing me. So that in itself seems to be a bit of a problem. I'm with BT and I called BT to see if they could transfer the broadband from here to the house and then a short-term contract. Oh, God, I mean, even just talking about it, I'm losing the words.
Yeah, I am too, frankly, but I understand your pain, but I'm hoping that we still will be able to do this, because that would be a shame to lose you.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely annoy you somehow.
Ah, right, okay. Well, anyway, Dave Spears, GeForce Software. You can get back to making wonderful software instruments. Thank you very much. And, there's Tom again. I'll come back. Skype has a mind of its own. It decides who it's going to throw up. And also, we want to say thanks to Gaz Williams for joining us there, making all that effort, crouching at the bottom of the stairs like a little leprechaun, and creating all of that, getting the wires sorted out. If you speak again, then I can switch to your...
Okay.
Where are you going to show up? Let's see. There he is.
Somewhere.
Gaz Williams, and I've got @Gaz Goldstar, which is your Twitter handle.
Yeah, and I'm in I was just thinking, actually, I'm in quite a mastery sort of mood at the moment. So anyone who wants any tracks mastering, just get in touch with me and say Sonic State for a 25% discount.
Good Lord, look at that. That was improvised discounting live on air.
Also, there is a funny little story though, which I watched a documentary the other day about. It's an old documentary; it's about 11 years old, about the history of house music. It's up on YouTube. It's really good. It's a BBC documentary, I think it was. But something happened. There was a bloke on it, and he was talking, and I thought, "God, he sounds like Mark." And then I looked at him. I thought he looks like Mark, and then I looked online afterwards, and it was your brother. It was Adamski.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
Didn't
Are
know,
you
but it was
Adamski?
kind of. It's really funny.
Are you Adamski, Mark?
Hey,
Tell you what, why don't we just fade the end of the show?
I'll tell you why. Because
Before we do that,
I can't. I haven't got a fade to black in my video switch. I can fade the podcast, and I always do, but you don't hear it live because I usually put a piece of music on at the end, which I might put some more of Tom's creations actually and fade those out if that's all right with Tom. So,
Yeah,
Cool.
Before we lose all those people in the chat room, I found a Zoom 9010 in my shipping container the other day, and I bought it like years ago and never plugged it in. I plugged it in, and I thought this sounds quite good, and I started making impulse responses from it, and I've made about probably half the patches as impulse responses. Then I went out, and I went and did a few things, and then I came back in the evening, and there was a smell of burning diodes and sort of burnt fish kind of smell in my cellar. And I now have a Zoom 9010 that was working in the morning and then stopped working in the evening. Now, I'm either going to take it to the tip, or if anybody here wants to pay shipping for it and thinks they can mend it, they can contact me, and I will send it to them for free. Likewise, I also have a Yamaha SPX 50D, which I plugged in, and it's got no output for some reason. So it's probably got, I don't know, maybe it needs a chip wiggled on the board or something. So I've got one of those, which I will send to anybody who will pay the shipping.
that sounds like a show title, Chip Wiggler.
Rather not throw it away, I'd rather have somebody who can poke around at it with a soldering iron and go, this is useful to me. So it's if anyone wants it, go on my website, likebeing.com. Look, Tom's
got his thumbs up there. There's something. And what's Dave got there? Dave seems to have some
I found some videos. I did these things in the 90s, which was called Getting the Most Out of Home Recording or something like that. And these was kind of big budget things. And I found like 3 sets of these.
Three containerfuls.
So yeah, exactly, because they never sold worth a shit. No, so if anybody wants one of these sets, because my video recorder's busted, they're either going in the bin, or if somebody wants
Are
them,
they VHS or Beta?
They're VHS, and it's PAL. Yeah, Beta.
Yeah, Beta.
That's
why they didn't sell. Yeah, I made the wrong choice. I mastered onto.
No, they're PAL blooming VHS, but I don't want them. And like I say, so the first person to come up and say I want them, they can have them.
Right. Looks like there could be a big day here. Right. I'm going to play. Us out now. I'm going to go to the final count. I'll play something that hopefully won't trigger YouTube's copyright engine. And here it is. So this is some of Tom's work.